around the world. You're doing great things around the world. Yeah, you're doing great things around the world. You're doing great things around the world. Great things, yeah.
Peace, global African family. My name is Diallo Sumbri, your host here on Diaspora Link, exclusively on GhanaWeb TV. Today I have a very exciting episode for you. I will be speaking with my brother, Fred Deegbe Jr., creator of Heal the World. If you scan down to my feet, you will see the maker of these particular slides that I have on right now. High quality, high value, made in Ghana. Let's find out who Fred is. Welcome back to Diaspora Link. I am your host with the most, Diallo Sumbri. As we do every episode, let's get to know our guest today before we dive into his story, and I'm sure you're going to be inspired. My brother Fred.
How you doing, bro?
I'm good, man. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Before we get into your story, let's dive in. This is what we do called choices. Okay. I'm going to give you choices, and then you choose one, and then tell me why.
All right.
The first one is movies versus music. Which one?
Movies versus music.
If you had to choose one, which would you choose?
I'll go with music now because I sleep through the movies. It takes me too long to get through a movie because I have so many other things to do. So music gets me to a mood or to a place much quicker than movies would right now. I got wife, I got kids. I ain't got time for movies.
You ain't got time for movies.
My life is a movie, bro.
Your life is a movie. You film yourself.
Yes, sir.
All right. Fufu versus Banku.
Jollof.
No, that's not a choice, bro. You see, we always get these difficult people.
Right.
Y'all know we get these difficult.
No.
Fufu versus Banku. If you had to choose between the two.
I do Banku because my airways, like the tribe I'm from, we like Banku and we like tilapia, so
okay.
I'll do Banku.
So the Banku is
yeah, Banku's a hit. It's a hit in my house.
Okay, okay.
You know.
All right. New York City versus Accra.
I say New York for 2 weeks and then Accra for the rest of the year.
I tell y'all you
difficult people, right? No, Accra. It has to be Accra. It has to be Accra.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
Definitely Accra.
Definitely Accra. Definitely
okay.
Accra.
All right. No, that's an easy one. I almost got stuck. African wear, like a kaftan,
right,
versus an American suit.
Look at me, man.
I know, but you know, it could just be you know, what you're wearing today.
I haven't worn a suit in. I can count the number of times I've worn a suit in the last 10 years. You know,
okay, maybe
10 times. Like it's a must. And even then, I'm like, why am I wearing a suit? Like, so, kaftans, African wear. It's more comfortable. You know, it goes with my identity.
Last choice. American football versus international football.
International football.
But do you like American football?
I do like American football. Dallas Cowboys, Tom Brady, the usual suspects. I was born in Dallas, so I like the Cowboys. But then I came to Ghana and it was soccer. It was soccer from when I was a kid to now. And my thing with American football is I do feel like these very physical sports, like eventually, I don't know if they'll be banned, but it's like back in the day, the gladiators and stuff that we call sports that's allowed. I don't know how it's going to be in the future. You know, you saw the Will Smith movie, Concussion. Right. You know, so I'm on the fence. I like it, but you know, it's dangerous.
It can't last forever.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they have like 5-10 year career span, and then you got your body pays for it.
Right.
You know, the rest. So soccer is good. International football.
International football.
Yes,
because America's the only place to have a different football.
Right.
Every place else in the world has that soccer.
Right. Land of the
that was choices. As you know, we play choices because we believe our choices should not separate us. Our choices should not push us further apart. But the more we understand the choices that we each make, the closer it brings us together. Now we're going to dive into our top 5.
All right.
So this is what we call top 5. I'm going to give you 5 categories. You give me your top. Number 1, your favorite book. It could be your favorite or a book that has had a really big impact in your life.
All right. I'm gonna say 2.
You can only say 1.
Then I'll go for The Tanning of America by Steve Stout. So it's a book that's the black people's version of The Tipping Point. Because Malcolm Gladwell has The Tipping Point,
right,
which is great. But then The Tanning of America, Steve Stout was basically a music exec who's now like a marketing genius, and he found a way of bringing hip hop into mainstream. You know, Jay-Z with HP and Chris Brown with Sprite, and it just I said it changed my life, because it's like what we black people, what African Americans, whatever we're doing is relevant globally.
Right.
And because we got that sauce, you know, we have that special sauce. And so The Tanning of America is all about, you know, how the sauce. Got you. And you know how it goes mainstream and how people make money off it and how we can make money off it too. So The Tanning of America by Steve Stout. I'm still trying to meet him.
The Tanning of America by Steve Stout. If you haven't read it, get it. I'm gonna go on Amazon and order it, because it's not in my library, but it will soon be.
No, it's a great book. It's a great
Next
book.
one.
Right.
Favorite food. It could be a dish or kind of food, like soul food, or it could be pizza.
Okay.
If you only had to choose one, what is it?
I like these first 2 options, but I'll stick to jollof, chicken, and plantain.
So jollof, chicken, and plantain. That meal.
That's the combo.
That's your favorite.
That's
if
the combo.
If you had to choose one dish, that's what you're going for.
That's the combo. You can't get it wrong, you know.
Gotcha.
Because black people and chicken, like, it goes without
So let me
saying.
ask you, because jollof is made in different places. Just jollof?
Ghanaian jollof,
okay,
please.
be clear, because you know.
Yeah. I mean, I tried the Senegalese, because they said it's from Senegal. I tried the Nigerian, you know, but Ghana, you know, everything starts in Ghana. Everything it's the gateway to.
I'm not going to debate you. I'm not going to debate him on that.
No. It's no debate. You know, it's Ghanaian jollof. Everybody else is just making noise.
Okay, I hear you.
You know
I hear you. Favorite sport?
Basketball. I love basketball because even though I'm older now, it's the one sport where you get instant gratification. Every time the ball goes in the net, get endorphins, and you get a little adrenaline rush, and then you want to do it over and over again.
Right.
As opposed to maybe running a 20K or doing a sprint or doing, you know, something else. So basketball, I hurt my leg the other day about 2 months ago, but I can still shoot. You know, so I don't
still play.
Yeah, I can still shoot. You know, so basketball is still my favorite sport. Yeah, basketball.
Basketball.
Yes,
Got
sir.
you. Great reasons too. Favorite place to vacation? It could be a place that you've already been or a place that you want to go.
Vacation. Now I have to think about it. I haven't taken one in a long time.
Same, brother.
We travel, we go to nice places, but it's never quite a vacation.
So if it's a place that you haven't been, just a place that you know when you take your wife and your boys and you want to go there, and it's the place where you want to go, turn your phone off and be there for a real vacation, not one of our vacations where after 2 days we back on our phone and laptop.
You know, I wanted to say one of those exotic places like Bali or, you know, or Sao Tome, but if I think about my setup, Disneyland. I'm not playing because my boys will love it. Yeah. And there's a lot of activity, and you know, I think they'll love it. I think I loved it when I was a kid.
Right.
You know,
right.
And so I would love to. That would legit be a vacation because it's Disneyland.
Yep.
You know, anywhere
Definitely.
else you'd be thinking about business opportunities and, you know, sightseeing, but if you're out hanging out with Mickey Mouse, there's not much.
You on vacation?
Yeah, you know what I mean. So Disneyland would be cool.
Okay.
I'd love to go to Disneyland with my family.
Last one is your favorite musical artist across all genres. If you only had to pick one artist, choose one.
Wow. Now I really...
And we know that changes, right? Tomorrow might be different, but for right now on set, you get to choose one.
Wow. This is gonna take a while, because now I have to stop and think about it.
No, we ain't gonna give you that much time because
Favorite musical artist right now?
It could just be your favorite right now.
Okay, I think I would say Kendrick Lamar.
Kendrick.
It's not because of anything recent. It's because of that one song he did, High Power, like 10 years ago. And like I haven't heard a song like that since. And he was new and he was just spitting game. So I would say for right now, this Ghanaian afternoon, in an hour it could be somebody else. But for right now, I'm gonna go with Kendrick, just for that one song.
No problem.
High Power.
We appreciate it.
All right.
That's our top 5. Top 5 is a wonderful way to find out something about somebody. It could be a total stranger you're sitting next to on a plane, in the airport. As black people, as we move around the diaspora, it's important for us to say hello. It's important for us to find out who we're sitting next to. It's important for us to network. And top 5 is a wonderful way to do that. Now, let's get into this story and find out who this brother is.
Great things, yeah, around the world.
We are back on Diaspora Link with our guest, Fred Deegbe. We found out about some choices of his. We found out about his top 5. Now let's get into the story and find out about this brother's journey. My brother, first of all, I need the camera to pan down to my feet. Do you see my feet? Are we getting a close-up? Because we are going to talk about where this brother is now and his shoe company, Heal the World. We're going to go back to see where he started from, but I just needed you all to see these custom slides that came from this brother. All right, let me just...
Let's get it, let's get it.
Let's get it. All right, so you were born in the U.S., you were born in Dallas. Talk to me about your family. Where's your family from? Your family is Ghanaian. Somehow they got to the U.S., you were born there and you made it back. Walk us through kind of your family's journey and then you through high school, college.
Okay, I'll do my best to tell you about my family before I was born. So my dad is a lawyer turned pastor. His name is Reverend Dr. Fred Deegbe. So I'm Fred Deegbe Jr. My mom is a teacher turned lawyer. So she's Joanna. They got married in the early 80s. And somewhere in my dad's final year of law school, he got like a strong calling to be a pastor. And so he was already killing it in law school. So when he told his friends he's not really interested, you know, they're like, why? He's like, I want to be a pastor. And it's not like 2022 pastors where you know their prosperity, like I want to do God's work. And so he still had to stick it out, finish up, because you know, going to law school is an opportunity and everything. And so shortly after, got married to my mom, and then had my sister in '83. And then moved to the U.S. for seminary, for school. And so I was born in Dallas, Texas in 1984. Don't remember much. My brother was born a few years later, came down to Ghana in '89 or something. And
so like 5 years old was your first time in Ghana.
Right. So then
do you have any memories whether it's sights, smells, colors about your first time in Ghana at 5 years old?
I do. I remember chickens at the airport. I remember seeing chickens at the airport and being scared. You can't cuss on here, but I was scared, you know. I was scared of chickens.
This is Ghana Airways days.
This is Ghana Airways days, and so I remember chickens. It just scared me. They were just very unstable. You know, it was very unstable. You know, I was not expecting to come into the wild so quick. You know, I mean,
got you.
You know, I mean, maybe lions I would have expected, but chickens at the airport running wild. And so we moved to Kumasi. So my dad was a pastor there, and he was doing some work for about 3 years. So that's where I learned to speak Tree. And I went to school there for a year or two, and then we moved to Accra in 1991, 92. My dad got another job in Accra. So we came, and then I tried out public school for a little while, and then eventually got to another school called Ghana International School, which is a good international
GIS?
school. GIS, right?
I've heard it's
GIS.
the best. Some people have said it's the best, and some people said it's one of the best.
It's one of the best. I went to a couple of schools, so
Okay.
I have to give all of them their credit. So GIS is one of the best. But that's where I think everything began for me, you know, my level of consciousness, because the question is, where are you from? That's where because it's an international school. So it's like, where are you from? If I was in a public school, everybody's black, so no one's going to ask where you're from. You know, but if you're in an American school, an international school, they ask you. And at the time, I was really young, and I knew I was born in the U.S., but I knew I was Ghanaian. But there was nothing to write home about. You know, there was nothing to talk about. Like, it was almost whack being a Ghanaian. There was nothing. Like, you're Ghanaian, there was nothing. Like, well, what are you going to talk about? So for the longest time, I said I was American. And then went to school for GIS for a long time. Then in the 10th grade, my dad had to move again for work, for school. So we moved to Kentucky. So I did Kentucky for 1 year. Then I came back to GIS for 1 year. Then I went to Lincoln, an American school in Ghana as well. And this whole time, this question of where are you from, always haunted me. It wasn't until I got done with school here, high school here, and then I went to Ashesi University, which is the best university. There's no doubt about that. Ashesi University, started by Patrick Iwa, former Microsoft employee, got shares in the 80s, put his money where his mouth was, came and invested in liberal arts college, because it's about critical thinking. We got a lot of schools, but people are not actually thinking. It's chew and pour, just regurgitating whatever you learned. So I got to go to school there. And it was in my 3rd year, we had a class called Conflict in Africa. And I'd never thought about conflict in Africa. I mean, Africa has its conflict, but I never thought about the causes. So that's when I started finding out about European interests and so on, and, you know, destabilizing an economy and coming in to sweep in and save the day. And some of these people who were behind it were like high level, you know, people, maybe not the president, but maybe the president's kids for a couple of, so it's the first time I was like, whoa, you know, I still didn't know what I wanted to do and all that, but it was the first time I really took a step back and said, the next course I did right before finishing was on economic development, and it spoke about, you know, pockets of rich people living in like a poor neighborhood, and all that just started like triggering, like, you know, stuff within me I'd never thought of before. So that's my education. So I got done with school in 2006 in Ashesi University. I was student council president. Did a lot of stuff, sports. It was a good run. It was a good run.
Let me ask you this question: when you took those courses, did you start to connect dots from Dallas to Kumasi to Accra to Kentucky? Like, did things kind of start from GIS in these private schools, your time in public school? Did things start to kind of make sense and you begin to say, okay, maybe I understand why and how, this and that?
I didn't quite understand everything, but, you know, I think everything happens for a reason, right? And I don't know why I kept moving around so much, but then I still had the same, like, burning, like, feeling. I don't even know how to describe it. But the questions, the stuff I learned in school in Ashesi, like, just, you know, one question, like, who benefits when Africa is in trouble? Like, just one question just triggered me, and I would say ever since, that's the question I've been trying to answer in my own way. You know, so
when did you find a reason to be proud to be Ghanaian? When and how?
It was soccer. It was soccer. I went to visit my aunt in Nigeria when I was 10 years old in 1995, and Ghana was playing Brazil in the final. It was Ghana under 17, under 18, I think, and I mean, it was Brazil. If you talk about soccer, you're talking about Brazil. You're talking about basketball, you're talking about America, you know. So Brazil is the big bad wolf. We're not supposed to win. And I think we end up winning 3-1. and I'm in Nigeria, so it's not like
At that point, I'm Ghanaian.
I let everybody in the building knew there was a Ghanaian in there, and it was the first time, and I loved it. I loved it, and I didn't get that feeling again till maybe 10 years later when Ghana, or 12 years later when Ghana played Uruguay. But that was different. Ghana played Uruguay. It was a senior team. It was in South Africa, and we lost on penalties. But then that loss, people interpreted it differently. People took it personally, but I was like, so I thought like, so we could have been great. You know, if we had won, we would have been great. Would have been, and I just watched the euphoria in the country, and I just like, so Ghanaians or Africans actually want to be great. They're not poor, third world. You know, just look around. Like you have shoe shine boys and barbers using iPhones, you know, taxi drivers, you know, on Instagram. Like, we do want to be great. It's just the circumstances and, you know, education and a couple of things that are in the way. So I would say twice it's soccer that led me to you know, falling in love with being Ghanaian. Not because of soccer, but just because, you know, all the
greatness.
Pride.
You saw the pride. You saw the pride and the greatness.
I saw the pride, right.
So before we go to break, connect for me being a banker to that question of who benefits when Africa's in conflict. Because you talked about Ashesi University, right? And I know that you're a former banker.
Right.
And I'm sure somewhere in that time and space you started your banking career.
Right.
And we know that when we get jobs, part of it is to get a job to take care of ourselves and our family. But it's also not just any job.
Right.
Can you connect those two for me?
So when I got done with Ashesi University, when I was just about getting done, a kid came up to me with T-shirts, and he'd made the T-shirts in Ghana, and I'd never seen anything like that made in Ghana, and they were like hand-painted. I don't know if you remember the brand Miskeen. So Miskeen was like a hand-painted.
Yes.
When Echo...
You mean in the U.S.?
In the U.S.
Yes.
So when Echo and Rockaware and Fat from Miskeen was... So they were selling like $30 shirts, and Miskeen was like a $70, $80 because it was handmade. And I saw this kid making them with this.
And it was a Ghanaian?
A Ghanaian.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Anansi, right? That's the boy's nickname. Anansi is like Ghana's Spider-Man. Anyways, and I'd never seen anything like that in Ghana. I was like, and I was like, this could sell anywhere. And so that was my first, like, this is something here that can do well anywhere. And so I was 22 years old. I went over to Register General. I'm like, I'm going to start a company called Made in Ghana. And they're like, no, you can't have it. I'm like, why? They're like, because you can't have it. You know? So I'm like, can I have it manufactured in Ghana? They're like, you can have it. And so as it stands, I'm 37 now, and I have my friends, and I have a company called Manufactured in Ghana. And that's, it's crazy because no developed country will give a 22-year-old, you know, manufactured in the U.S. Like there's too much IP, there's too much pride. But that just shows how low we thought of ourselves 15 years ago.
That they would give that away.
That they would give that away. So, so that was in 2006. So then I left. I mean, I was here trying to start this T-shirt brand, and then someone's like, "Hey, you're American. Why don't you go get some dollars, pump it back in your business?" So I went to New York in 2007, and there was a crisis and a depression, you know, financial, and I was depressed, and I came, and then I came back, you know, no, because I couldn't get a job. I mean, Mother's Day came, I couldn't buy my mom a card. I mean, it was bad, you know. When you know how bad it is, like there's broke bad Africa, which is different from broke New York, America. Like,
Understood.
It's different. The wind is different.
Right. The bottom is not always the bottom.
No. It's all right. Here, someone will break you off, but right there, it's like, nah, we all struggling. So at some point, I'm like, what am I doing here? You know, what am I actually doing here? I mean, I'm doing security in a meth clinic with crackheads, and we're hanging out, you know. And I'm like, what am I doing here? And I'm like, in my father's house, there's cars, there's help, and I'm back home. So I had to come back, and at that same time, I was still trying to solve the problem of like, this burning thing within me. And so I came back home, and I thought the problem with Ghana was branding or marketing. I thought that's the problem. So then I joined an ad agency, an international one called Ogilvy, and unfortunately I didn't learn as much as I could have or I should have. Maybe it was me, maybe it was them. I'll say it was me. I was really young, and I just needed the right mentorship, and it wasn't there. So I'm like, you know what? If this isn't working out, all this self-exploration stuff, let me get some money. Let me go work in a bank.
There we go. So hold on, let me stop you right there. Because a bank is a good place to get money.
Yes, sir.
Legally.
Legally.
Okay?
Right.
Legally. We're going to take a small break and come right back and finish the story. Peace, global African family. My name is Diallo Sumbri. I'm a co-architect of Ghana's Year of Return 2019, and I'm the president and CEO of the Adinkra Group. For the past 5 years, we've been bringing loads and loads of people to Ghana. Many of them, their first time on the African continent, their first time putting their toes in the African sand, in the African soil. And so many people have had their life changed. Our Birthright journeys are curated cultural immersion journeys centered around reclaiming cultural identity, exploring your ancestral heritage, and celebrating African resilience. It gives me great pleasure to introduce our Birthright Journey Partner Program. It's really simple, and you really don't have to do much other than email us at info@theadinkragroup.com. Now, what makes a great Birthright Journey partner for our program? Are you a leader? Are you an influencer? Are you that person that your family calls on to organize, or do you automatically know that that's your job? Are you somebody of status in your community? Are you a community leader? Are you that person in your church or in the school? If you are the ideal Birthright Journey partner. Do you believe that every person of African descent should have an opportunity to touch ground on the continent of Africa? If you are, then you are the ideal Birthright Journey partner. It's simple. We're going to show you how you can travel to Ghana for free. Not only can you travel to Ghana for free, but you can actually get paid to travel to Ghana. Really simple. Just contact us at info@theadinkragroup.com and set up a discovery call. You'll get to travel with your family and friends, you'll get to travel with your community, and the best part of it is that it'll be free for you. Or you'll even earn money doing it. So again, info@theadinkragroup.com. We look forward to seeing you in Ghana. We look forward to dancing with you in Ghana. We look forward to eating fufu, eating jollof, eating wache. Make sure you contact us now, and we would love for you to become a Birthright Journey partner. Madasi. And we are back with our interview. We're going to jump right back in. So you needed to get some bread. I know I had this part of my life and I was like, I don't want to do this. I just need to get some bread.
Yes.
So you went to the bank.
So I did go for one bank interview. I got pushed to the front of the line. This is Ghana. And I remember them asking me questions, and I'm like, I never thought I'd work in a bank during a bank interview. So that interview didn't go well.
Right.
Too much. This is important because we get opportunities and we mess them up, you know. So I messed that one up, and so a couple months later, I got another opportunity at a bank, and I was as excited as possible during the interview session. But I knew it was just about the money, you know. It's just about having some stability. So.
And there's nothing wrong with having stability, because I know sometimes those of us who are really purpose-driven, we get on ourselves and we can't really, it's difficult for us to drive and find our purpose and help other people if we don't have no stability ourselves.
Exactly. So I had to make a decision, get a job, be a grown-up, you know. So I got a job at a bank, and from day one, I knew I was not going to be there forever. Like, I'm not doing 30 years here. I'm not trying to rise up to CEO. Right. I just need this constant, you know, flow. So by that time, I had paused on the T-shirts because it was almost too easy to do because there was no intellectual property like protection. I had this one meme. I'll send you guys the pictures. You know, you can blow them up, and then it started blowing up. This is before there were memes, you know. And I just realized anybody who could see the image could just take the image and then put it on a T-shirt, and that's it. And I was
duplicate.
Like, low barriers to entry. So I'm like, I need to do something more difficult. So I joined the bank. Nice shirt, nice suit, nice tie, and my shoes were busted. You know, they weren't actually my shoes. They were shoes from under my dad's bed that he might have had before I was born. But to me, shoes were shoes. And then when I got to the bank, they're like, those are not shoes, you know? So I went out. I'm like, I'm gonna buy myself the most expensive shoes I can find. Went to Osu, Oxford Street. Went to a shop, Pierre Cardin, bought these $800 shoes. It was the dollar and the CD was 1-to-1. It was 800. And
the dollar and the CD was 1-to-1. I'm gonna just let that sit. Go ahead.
I'm just yes. It was 1-to-1 once upon a time, right? And so we bought the shoes, and then I don't know, maybe it's because my dad's a pastor. I had so I saw a shoe shine boy walking past the boutique window, and then like the light hit him, and I had like a hallelujah moment. So like I'm holding the shoes, I see the shoe shine boy, I'm like, you know, I had an epiphany. So I run out, I'm like, can you make these shoes here? He's like, no, we can't make these shoes here. I said, why? I said, can never make these shoes here. I'm like, can we? He said, my brother, we can never make these shoes here. I was like,
no reason other than just that we can't.
No. So then I thought, he doesn't go to school. He doesn't know anything. I'm like, let me ask my colleagues at work. Same thing. Can't make this here.
Can never make the shoes here.
Ask my auntie. Can't make it here. Ask my girlfriend. Now my ex-girlfriend. Can't make this here.
Let me stop you for a minute, because no one's giving a reason other than just that you can't.
No one is breaking down the problem. They're just
you
can't make it, right? So then I go online and I'm like, let me just go find about these shoes. I find out there's a whole like high-end shoe like world, $2,000, $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 shoes, and it's like it takes 4 months to make a pair. I'm like, we should do that because Ghana, everything is slow anyways, right? So why don't we just take our time and then do something prime, right? So I'm still thinking about this. I don't know anything about shoes, by the way, at the time, but I'm like, that is my incentive. Because I don't want to have to know about something to start it or to try, you know, which is what people, you know, say, I don't know anything about it, so I can't get into it. I'm like, if it's difficult, that's the next step, because I did the T-shirt thing. It was too easy. And I'm going to do something really difficult.
Right now, you're on a journey, and you're being led towards something. And all of these stops are things that are pushing you to the next thing, the next thing, the next thing.
Exactly. So I'm thinking, okay, what happens if this works out? Like we make these great shoes and they're sold for thousands of dollars. I'm still in Ghana. I'm like, what would I want to do with all that money? I'm like, besides having money, I'm like, I would like to, you know, be in a position where we can put money in the next unorthodox thing to come out of Africa. You know, the next thing that's impossible from Africa. So that's how come we came up with the name Heal the World, which H-E-E-L, because we're making shoes. We wanted them to go global, but we wanted to be a conduit for other innovative, you know, unorthodox things from Africa. So we wanted to, you know, give a portion of what we're doing towards that. So I remember coming up with a name with a couple of people I was trying to start the business with, and I thought they were going to shut it down. You know, gonna laugh at Michael Jackson and, you know, Heal the World. I mean, but they were like, all right, it's okay. Like, they didn't say anything that let me know the name was a great name. And then, you know, I read a book, 4 Steps to Epiphany by Steve Blank. And he's got this thing in there called MVP, Minimum Viable Product. And what you do is you have this big dream, this vision, this goal, but you have to have something that works. You have to start somewhere and prove that works and then take it to the next level. So that's what MVP is, minimum viable product. Like, what's the least I got to do right now to prove something works? And because when I started off, I remember, because I wanted to make $1 million shoes. Well, I was working on like a shoebox for like 4 months. And then after like 4 months, my partner at the time, my business partner at the time, is like, yo, your shoebox looks like a coffin, bro. Like,
so let me ask you this. Everybody said it's impossible. So what was your journey like in making a shoe company? Was it like you traveling? So did you travel to other places in Africa? Are you sourcing leather from here, there? Are you like, or is it just on YouTube or looking at videos, meeting with craftsmen? What is?
I mean, first off, I'm working in a bank, and so I'm not as mobile.
You're doing your 9 to 5,
I'm doing
and then
my
your 5 to 9.
My 5 to 9. So what happens is, there's a young guy who's coming in to the bank every day selling jerseys during the World Cup, and I loved his consistency and his professionalism. And I'd done some work with his brother before, but I'm like, this guy's serious. So I'm like, I had the brain, I had the money, I didn't have the legs. So I partnered with him to help me do some groundwork. Groundwork means finding materials, finding shoemakers, testing them, photo shoots, just all that stuff that I couldn't do because I didn't have the time. And so that took probably 18 months. And then by the 18th month, it's almost December. And I'm like, you know how December is in Ghana. Like, if it's gonna pop off,
it gotta pop off.
It gotta pop off. So I'm like, yo, this thing is not ready, but it needs to come out now.
Right.
And we'll wing it. We'll wing it as it goes. So we end up doing our first photo shoot at the African Regent Hotel. It's not too far from here. Great, run by this great guy, Chief. And had like a beautiful African like setup and the carvings and everything. And people had never seen that before on social media, like in Ghana. Like, it's just an African brand, had so much attitude. The shoes were awful, but there was so much attitude. No, shoes were awful. Like, they were only for the shoot. You couldn't actually walk in them.
Did you attempt to explore other African countries? Like, in your research, did you look up other African countries? Did you visit any to see if anybody else in Africa was making shoes, or it was just like Ghana?
I did check out, I did research on them, but I was so on MVP, like, don't get carried away watching what someone else is doing. That might even discourage you. It's like, what can you do with what you have? Start with what you have, and even in the Bible, you got one parable, you get more. So I mean, I did see a couple of people doing it, but not. You see, people were expecting, because it's from Africa, either it's going to be African print or it's going to be something like.
They weren't expecting just a clean, fine.
No, they weren't expecting that. They were expecting Toms.
Right.
And I remember talking to a couple of people about it, and they were checking, and they were like, so they're expecting Toms, and I was thinking Tom Ford, And so when it came out, it's like, and that's what I live for. I live for the unexpected, because in my marketing teacher in university, Kofi Bento, he said, experience changes perception. And for me, Africa, the biggest issue is perception.
Right.
That's the biggest thing. Like, you coming down here and everything, like, people.
And experience is actually very factual. Experience is changing perception.
Yeah.
Earlier, you mentioned when you found your reason for being a proud Ghanaian, you were in Nigeria. And that's just so fortuitous between Ghana. That's just so, that's the most Ghanaian thing to do, is to find out and discover your Ghanaian pride in Nigeria.
I'll never forget that
You know what I'm saying?
I'll never forget that day.
Especially when you look at, did you ever have the opportunity to visit any other African countries?
So I did at some point when I started doing it full time. I did go to Burkina Faso. I did go to Ethiopia.
Okay.
So those were the two main places. I have been to South Africa since. All this on this leather journey trip.
To making the shoes.
To making the shoes.
Let me stop you really quickly.
Right.
Right now, we're going to do something called Africa in 60. You mentioned a few. Ethiopia, South Africa, Burkina Faso, Ghana. So you're 4 in. Africa in 60 is, again, I know I'm cutting you right in the middle. We're going to get back to the story. But Africa in 60 is where you name as many African countries as you can in 60 seconds. So you ready?
I have a lot of things on my mind.
No problem. African countries. As long as they African country names, that's all we want to hear.
I'll try.
Countdown, 3, 2, 1, go.
Ghana, Benin, Togo, Nigeria, Niger, Burkina Faso, Djibouti, South Africa, Angola, Guinea, Guinea-Conakry, Congo, Zimbabwe, where are we? Egypt, Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Senegal, Sierra Leone, Liberia, Gabon, Gambia, I said Liberia already. Man, where are the other African countries? Did I say Ethiopia already? Sao Tome, Sudan, where are these other African, Tanzania, Uganda, Kenya, Rwanda. Where are we? Where are these other African countries? Oh my God, I'm like done. How many have I got so far? 20.
That's it. You got 29.
I got 29.
29 is good, bro.
29 is not bad.
29 is good. 29 is not bad.
What's the
you
most,
was on the road.
What's the most?
I think the most might have been like 35. Somewhere between 35 and 37.
I'm a B student. I'm a B student. I never made no A's. I just get by. I know enough to move. I know enough to not get lost. So that's me.
I got you.
That's me. I don't want 36 anyways. You're gonna look at me funny. You're gonna look at me funny. No,
I'm not. I'm not judging.
I'm just kidding.
All right. So Burkina Faso, Tanzania. Ethiopia. South Africa. You're on this journey
right.
for leather.
Right, for leather.
Specifically for leather, which is your main material.
Just
leather crafts. Let me put some time in, right? So what did you find on this journey and
look, when I first started, we wanted to do styles that were what people knew, but then did not know could be made in Africa. So penny loafers, Oxfords, monk straps, what people know. People want to start with what they know. When they have had enough of that, then they want to take it to the next level. And so I started this journey on the what they know, but then as time went by, people started changing from suits to kaftans. Like it became more of everyday thing, 10 years ago not so much, but now it's a kaftans and people are wearing their fabrics, their kente cloths and so on for traditional weddings. Initially it was just like Nigeria and South Africa really doing the whole culture thing. Now everybody's doing it. So then we got into footwear, into sandals and slippers and ahinimas. But then about 6 years ago, 6 years ago, I was like, there has to be more. There has to be something deeper than what I'm doing. Like I've done the MVP. I'm like, okay, what's really here? So that's when I started finding out and exploring other tribes and the crafts. These Tuareg, craftsmen, and these, the Malians are really great with leather, and they got their own signature. And then we have people in villages hand stitching, and it's like that's what they do. They don't know anything about no machines. This hand stitching, this is going to be, run from generation to generation, like heirlooms. And it's just been wonderful. I think what's been missing is documenting it, organizing it, and transforming it in a way in which is contemporary, which is the next step, which is where I'm going. But we'll talk about that in the future. Like we'll talk about that soon. Right.
So that you just created the segue. So the next question is, so you've been running your company for about 10 years. About 10 years.
Right.
And it's going well.
Yes,
right?
It's going well.
It's going well.
It's going well.
You've been featured on CNN. You've been BBC. In magazines, BBC. You've done that. Are the majority of your customers Ghanaian?
So we have certain products that do very well in Ghana. Shoes you're wearing, the half shoes, the slippers, the sandals, loafers. We have these sneakers and Croc and exotic that do well outside, because our people, African American, we like them different. We like them different. They might, because the African Americans, the diaspora, want stuff they can wear there, that they don't have to stick out like a sore thumb on Wall Street. So we have. So it does quite well, both sides. Right now, I'm really focusing on the diaspora, because I think there's a deeper appreciation for what's made on the continent.
Yes.
You know, as well, and this has always been done for the diaspora, because just in Africa, just in America, African Americans spend $30 billion annually on luxury products, and out of that, I would say 98% are like European or American. Now, not only do you give them money, you give them credibility. You know what I mean? And you give their heritage and their culture, you magnify it. You know, so for me, I'm focusing on connecting more with the diaspora and whatnot, because it's not just about the money, it's about the pride as well. You know, you travel, so hey, like nice shoes, nice that, and you're like, yeah, we got them made here.
Right.
So first they don't even think it can be made there, and then it's fly, and then it's it's the sauce. There's something African Americans and, you know, diaspora have that is called the magnifier effect. We might not have the numbers or the spending power, purchasing power that the Europeans or the white people have, or the white Americans have, but how to make things hot and fly and viral.
We run the world.
You know? And so I feel like that's something we need to tap into.
Right.
You know, we need to convert all that energy back towards Africa. You can be in the US, you might not be ready to make a trip down here, but you can get your stuff made down here.
But you can get it made and have it shipped.
Yeah,
let me ask you this, because we're running out of time, so as we wrap up, how important was a campaign like the Year of Return, and how important is that kind of thing, not only for Ghana but for all of Africa, for young entrepreneurs like yourself who are focused on made in Africa products that are luxury, right? Because you're not saying, like in your business plans, you're not saying we want to make the least expensive shoe.
No.
Right? We want to make high quality, luxury materials, brand that people who appreciate value and quality will spend, will spend on.
The African man is, or the African, or black people, we like value for money. We're not cheap. Like even someone who doesn't have money will still want Gucci. When I was doing security in New York, my colleague was buying Jordans for his baby. Like it's not about if we have or if we don't have. We still like that. It's in our DNA. We still like it. Now back to this question. I didn't even let you land because I wanted to just tell you, in my experience, the Year of Return is the greatest event, the greatest event maybe ever done in Ghana or even Africa. Because even though it only started in Ghana, it's had a trigger effect. I mean, and this was done by us. This was not done by the United Nations or, it started with you, birthed in you 20 years ago, and then you just put in the work. All the policies and all the politics and then all the meetings and like, what are we actually doing? And then $3 billion later, in this small African country.
Africa's growing.
And I feel like it's so for me, I started my Year of Return thing it wasn't called the Year of Return. I started my journey with that in 2017. I started working on a brand called Musa for Mansa Musa, right? And this is I just saw all these other brands, Goyard and all these other ones selling for ridiculous prices. I'm like, and they're all based on heritage. And our heritage in Africa, we have the wealthiest man ever, and nobody talking about him. Mansa Musa, worth $400 billion, controlled half of the world's gold and salt. I mean, we talking crazy, and nobody talks about him. Everybody talking about Bill Gates and
if you're going to have a luxury brand, Mansa Musa is actually a very dope name, bro.
So in 2017, I'm like, this is what I need to do. So I started working on it in 2017, outdoored it in 2018, and then 3 weeks later, Black Panther came out, and then a couple of weeks later, they said Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan working on a Mansa Musa movie. So this was 2018. Then in 2019, Year of Return.
The stars are aligned.
I was like, and I remember when I was working on it, I remember meeting this top fashion executive. She had a magazine, it's Vogue or one of those, one of them. And I remember meeting her with one of my products, and she's like, "How much?" And at the time, it was cheap. It was $7,000. I say it's cheap. I'll explain. And she's like, you know, she's a white lady. She's like, "Oh, it's expensive," you know, like, and I'm just like, it's $7,000, you know, because you see the LV bag for 3 or 5, and it's not even close in terms of, you know,
quality craftsmanship,
you know, not even close, and it's $5,000, and I'm not, and at that point I'm like, this is Mansa Musa. It's our greatest African heritage thing. If we don't price it accordingly, nobody's going to. If we don't respect ourselves, nobody's going to respect us. So for me, for a year of return, all the people coming down here, yes, there were parties, there were cultural experiences, there were trips to Cape Coast, everything, but it was like all that money that was spent
on the ground
in
Ghana,
all the jobs,
vendors,
all the connections, all the relationships made. You know, like Ghana has never seen anything like that before. People come down for Christmas, but this is different. This was the people came down to connect. And I feel like what you did, what you and the entire team did, Ghana Tourism Authority and Diaspora Affairs and, you know, the Afrochella boys and everything, did a great thing. And I think it's here to stay. It's here to stay. It's like once you've seen, you can't unsee.
Right.
And,
Very true. Very true.
I'm hoping to tap into that. You know.
Hey, listen, we tapped in. Before we go, give us one piece of advice for young diasporan entrepreneurs. Because what I see right now is a lot of young entrepreneurs moving to Ghana, working virtually from Ghana, looking for opportunities in Ghana. What's one piece of advice that you would give to diasporan entrepreneurs looking to do business on the African continent?
I would say,
one solid gem that they can take with them.
Be export oriented. Come down here, get the groundwork done, export. Because what you already have is you already have the foreign background. You don't need to come here and say, I left everything, like, because the West got systems. They got systems. They got credit. You know, they got the West got credit. If you could come down here, put something together, find a way of tying that in with your American roots or Caribbean roots, find a segue between that, and then tap into the infrastructure, which is already in the West, you know, maybe even a bank account, run that for 6 months, get credit, you know, that you can, you know, spend here.
And export the products out.
Because the interest rates in Ghana are crazy. Right. The financial systems are weak, you know, not in a bad way, but not. It's
different. It's very different than the West.
Different, not even so close. So if I was coming down here, I would be asking, what is it down here that I could send back there? Because I would get more value for it. You know, the dollar is killing.
It's miles away. It is exotic. It is foreign. It's quality. It's of high value. It's from the African continent. You're going to be able to sell it for a higher price point in the U.S. All of these things.
You can leverage off your credit in the U.S. You know, and that's what I would do. So that's one thing I would say people should do. That's something I'm also looking into doing. And just come down here, and there's only one of you. You're only one of one, and don't worry about what everybody else is doing. Do yours. Do it your way. We got social media. We got tech. Build your community, and just let God just make everything come together. You know, don't be scared. Like what are you doing in the U.S.?
Don't be scared.
Don't be scared. Don't be scared.
My brother.
Yes, sir.
Man, we could talk forever. I appreciate you. You just dropped off some gems. Each of us is a one of one. Drink water and mind your business. That's what you should do when you come here. Drink water and mind your business. Literally mind your business.
Right.
Stay focused on it. We want to thank our guest, Fred Deegbe Jr. for coming. I want to thank him for the shoes. You're going to see more and hear more about Heal the World from me directly, because I already seen the pictures and I'm copping a pair of everything because I like to stay flying fresh too. And now that I know I could do that on my feet, and an African brand from Ghana It's over.
It's a wrap.
Thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure you follow Heal the World. Join us next week on Diaspora Link. Peace.
You're doing great things around the world.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Diaspora Link here exclusively on GhanaWeb TV. Diallo Sumbri, your host. I really hope you enjoyed our conversation today with my brother, Fred Deegbe Jr. I hope you understand the importance of manufacturing our own products on the continent of Africa and exporting our high value, high quality to the rest of the world. Today, we're going to leave you with a proverb as we do every week to share some ancestral wisdom. Today's proverb is, one hand can never lift a heavy load. I'll say that again. One hand can never lift a heavy load. Let's work together, y'all. Peace. See you next week. Diaspora Link here exclusively on GhanaWeb TV.
You're doing great things around the world. Yeah, you're doing great things around the world. You're doing great things around the world. Great things, yeah. You're doing great things around the world.